Fossil fuels refers to the remains of plants and animals that were formed millions of years ago. They are considered non-renewable resources since they are being used much faster than new ones are generated. Sustainable energy meets the needs of the present and causes no long-term damage to the environment. A global movement toward the generation of renewable energy is underway to help meet the increased energy needs. My name is Maria Rocha, and I will describe alternative sustainable energy as well as the importance of turning to these sources of energy and minimizing the negative impact fossil fuel energy consumption is causing the environment. So these are examples of where our energy comes from. Fossil fuels, which are non-renewable sources of energy, and it includes petroleum, which is used for oil and gasoline, natural gas, which is commonly used for heat, and also coal, which it creates energy when burned. Nuclear power, it's a non-renewable source of energy since uranium needs to be dug out of the ground in order to harness the energy. Examples of sustainable energy resources include the following. Wind. Moving air can provide generators with renewable energy. Also, solar, the sun's renewable energy can be captured to heat water or generate electricity. Hydropower is a renewable water power that can generate electricity. And biomass, recently living things such as wood and manure, are renewable sources of energy when burned. Soon, fossil fuels will run out. Over the last 200 years or so, the quantities of fossil fuels extracted from the ground have escalated dramatically, almost doubling since 1950. According to research by Rob Bowden in Energy Sustainable World, the demand for energy has increased dramatically, more than double since 1950. These fuels are not generated at the same rate they are being used. Scientists agree that oil and gas will last about 30 to 50 years, and coal may last another 200 years. Environment damage is caused at every stage of extracting, processing, and using these fuels, mainly upsetting the balance of the Earth's natural systems. For example, crude oil needs to be transported to refineries for further processing before it can be used, therefore creating the potential for oil spills. As we burn fuels to release their energy, gases are released into the atmosphere in enormous quantities, such as carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. Acid rain forms when these gases are released into the atmosphere. They create an acid solution, also known as acid rain, which kills trees, lakes, and erodes the stonework of many buildings. Scientists agree that we are likely to experience climate changes as gases in the atmosphere form a blanket and trap heat close to the Earth's surface, which is also known as global warming. Life on a warmer planet means ice melting in polar regions. Scientists have been noticing sea levels increasing every year and estimate a potential increase of 15 to 40 inches by the year 2100. To paint a picture, a 3-foot rise in sea levels would flood about a quarter of Bangladesh and affecting an estimated 80 million people. Ocean temperatures and currents influence wind directions and the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. These affect our weather, and we are likely to continue experiencing abnormal weather patterns such as torrential rains and flooding, normally in dry areas, and also long periods of drought strike areas that are usually well watered. Extreme weather events such as cyclones, typhoons, and hurricanes are also on the increase. Fortunately, there are alternative ways of providing energy without affecting the environment. Long before the use of fossil fuels, people were making use of renewable and sustainable energy such as wind, sun, and biomass. In 1992, leaders from around the world met in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and 160 nations signed an agreement to tackle the climate change issue. Countries with limited fossil fuel supplies, such as Kenya and France, turned to alternative energy resources such as nuclear and hydroelectric power. Several international oil companies are realizing that with demand of more sustainable energy, they must also specialize in renewable and sustainable energy solutions, and one big company is BP company. More and more wind turbines are seen all over the world, creating sustainable sources of energy. Solar energy is a relatively expensive form of energy, but as solar technology improves and the demand increases, it's becoming cheaper. These are some of the things you can do to change energy consumption and contribute toward a sustainable future. You can buy the energy efficient light bulbs, also known as the compact fluorescent lights, which cost more than normal lights, but it lasts about 10 times longer and only use about 75% and use 75% less energy than normal lights. Also, you can turn off appliances and lights when not in use. You can also put an extra layer of clothing instead of turning up the heat. And you can walk or cycle for short distances instead of riding a car. Another big thing is recycling goods and possessions in order to minimize the use of energy needed to create new ones. In conclusion, some European countries such as Germany, Denmark, and Spain are leading the way toward a future built around sustainable energy. I'm very glad that more and more nations have decided to tackle the climate change issue. But we cannot rely on government and global organizations to make the switch to sustainable energy on our behalf. Therefore, we must make small steps at a time, and active participation and support from all of us will make a difference in the long run. For example, in my household, we are actively following the recommendations mentioned earlier for minimizing energy consumption, such as energy efficient light bulbs and appliances, turning off lights and electrical appliances when not in use, and also recycling goods and possessions. We have to decide to take action and make a difference that would build a more sustainable world for generations to come. Thank you.